If you are over 60 and your legs feel weaker than they once did, your knees feel stiff when you first stand up, or everyday movements seem to require more effort, it is easy to tell yourself, this is just what happens with age. But there is a more useful way to look at it. Your muscles, tendons, ligaments, cartilage, and bones are living tissues. They still need the right nutritional building blocks, and one of the most important structural proteins involved in those tissues is collagen. The problem is that collagen is often misunderstood. Eating collagen does not mean it travels directly from your dinner plate into your knees. Your digestive system breaks proteins down into amino acids and smaller peptides, and your body uses those materials according to its needs. So the goal is not to find a miracle food that somehow rebuilds your joints overnight. The goal is to give your body the materials it needs to maintain healthy connective tissue while also protecting the muscle that keeps your legs strong. Today, I am going to show you 5 foods that can help you do exactly that. And stay with me through the 5th one, because it is probably the food most closely associated with collagen, yet understanding what it can and cannot do may completely change how you think about joint nutrition after 60. I am Dr. Robert Hayes. At 75, I think about strength very differently than I did when I was younger. Strong legs are not about looking athletic. They are what help you rise from a chair, climb stairs, carry groceries, catch yourself when you lose your balance, and continue doing ordinary things without constantly needing assistance. Healthy joints matter for the same reason. When your knees, hips, or ankles become uncomfortable, you naturally start moving less. And when movement decreases, maintaining muscle becomes harder. That is why today's conversation is not really about collagen for smoother skin. It is about the tissues that help you move, and the foods that can contribute useful building blocks to support them. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, how old are you, and where have you noticed the biggest change? Your knees, your hips, your ankles, or the strength in your legs? That distinction matters because weak legs can mean very different things. For one person, it means struggling to get out of a chair. For another, it means stiff or uncomfortable knees. Someone else may be dealing with swelling, numbness, or instability. Those symptoms should not automatically be treated as the same problem. And there is one safety point I want to make early. Persistent or sudden leg swelling should not automatically be blamed on aging, diet, or a lack of collagen. Swelling can have many causes, some of which need medical evaluation. The same is true for new numbness, significant weakness, one-sided swelling, or symptoms that are rapidly getting worse. Nutrition can support health, but food should never be used to explain away a warning sign that deserves proper attention. Now, before we get to the first food, let me make collagen easy to understand. Think of the tissues around your joints as a coordinated support system. Your muscles generate force. Tendons connect muscles to bones. Ligaments help stabilize joints. Cartilage helps joint surfaces move smoothly. Collagen is an important structural component in several of these tissues. You can think of it as part of the body's internal framework. But your body cannot maintain that framework with collagen alone. It needs adequate protein and amino acids, and normal collagen formation also depends on nutrients such as vitamin C. In other words, the whole nutritional environment matters more than any single so-called superfood. The first food is eggs. Now, eggs are not one of the richest sources of collagen itself, so you may wonder why they belong on this list. The answer is simple. Your body needs amino acids to maintain and repair proteins throughout the body, and eggs are a convenient source of high-quality protein. When your goal is stronger legs, that matters because connective tissue is only half the story. The muscles surrounding your joints need adequate nutrition too. This becomes particularly useful at breakfast. Many people begin the day with toast, pastries, sweet cereal, or something else that provides plenty of carbohydrate but relatively little protein. Adding eggs can make that meal more nutritionally substantial. Pair them with vegetables such as tomatoes or peppers, or have some fruit alongside them, and you also bring vitamin C and other nutrients into the meal. That is a much more sensible collagen support strategy than searching for one exotic ingredient. And you do not need a complicated preparation. Boiled eggs, poached eggs, or a simple vegetable omelet can all work. What matters far more than finding one supposedly perfect cooking method is building an eating pattern you can actually maintain. Ordinary cooking does not make the protein in an egg suddenly useless. Choose a preparation you enjoy and that fits your health needs. Eggs teach us our first important lesson. A food does not need to contain large amounts of intact collagen to contribute to the bigger picture. Some foods provide the amino acids or other nutrients your body uses in normal tissue maintenance. Once you understand that, collagen nutrition becomes much less confusing. The second food is sardines, and sardines are particularly interesting for healthy aging because they bring several useful nutrients together in a very small package. They provide protein and omega-3 fats, and when you eat sardines with their soft edible bones, you also get calcium. Their skin and connective tissues can contribute collagen-related proteins as well. Think about why that combination matters for your legs. Your muscles pull against your bones to create movement. Your joints have to tolerate that movement. Your nervous and cardiovascular systems have to support the entire process. So protecting mobility after 60 is never about one tissue in isolation. Protein helps support muscle. Calcium is relevant to bone health. Omega-3 fats can be part of a heart-healthy eating pattern, and the connective tissues in the fish provide additional collagen-related components. Sardines therefore contribute to several pieces of the healthy aging puzzle at once. What sardines should not be viewed as is a treatment for swollen ankles, weak circulation, or painful joints. Those problems can have many causes. The useful takeaway is simpler and more credible. Sardines are a nutrient-dense food that can contribute protein, calcium, healthy fats, and connective tissue components to an overall diet designed to support healthy aging. There is one practical detail to watch, however: sodium. Canned sardines can vary considerably in salt content. If you have high blood pressure, heart or kidney concerns, or you have been advised to limit sodium, compare the labels rather than assuming every can is the same. Choosing a lower sodium variety when available may fit your needs better. And if the flavor seems too strong, you do not have to sit down with a can and eat them plain. Try a small amount on whole grain toast. Add them to a salad with lemon and herbs. Combine them with tomatoes or other fresh ingredients. If sardines are completely new to you, start small. A nutritious food only becomes useful when you can realistically include it in your life. Now, the third food is very different because it is not usually eaten as the main part of a meal. It is unflavored gelatin. Gelatin comes from collagen-rich animal connective tissues that have been processed with heat. In simple terms, gelatin is a cooked form of collagen, and it provides amino acids commonly found in collagen, including glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. This is where understanding digestion becomes especially important. When you consume gelatin, your digestive system breaks it down. Amino acids and small peptides can then be absorbed and used by the body. But they do not come with an instruction saying, "Send this directly to the right knee." Your body distributes and uses nutrients according to its own physiological needs. That may sound obvious, but it corrects one of the biggest misunderstandings surrounding collagen foods and supplements. Eating collagen is not the same as taking a piece of cartilage from your plate and installing it inside a joint. What you are doing is providing materials that your body can use as part of normal tissue maintenance. Unflavored gelatin can also be easy to incorporate into food. It can be prepared according to the package directions and used in homemade dishes, soups, or fruit-based gelatin desserts. Making something yourself also gives you control over the added sugar instead of relying on highly sweetened gelatin desserts. But gelatin has a limitation that becomes very important when our title promises stronger legs. Gelatin should not replace the complete protein sources you rely on for maintaining muscle. Collagen and gelatin have a different amino acid profile from complete proteins such as eggs, dairy, fish, meat, or soy. So if stronger legs are your goal, Gelatin is an addition to a balanced diet, not a substitute for the protein your muscles need. And right here, before we continue, I want you to remember one sentence. Collagen supports connective tissue, but strong legs require muscle. You need both sides of that equation. You can eat nutritious foods every day, but if your leg muscles are rarely asked to do anything challenging, nutrition cannot do the entire job. Walking is valuable for many reasons, but maintaining strength also requires your muscles to work against some form of resistance. Depending on your health and ability, that might mean repeated chair stands, resistance bands, light weights, climbing stairs, or exercises recommended by a physical therapist. Food provides the materials. Movement gives your body a reason to maintain the machinery. Now we come to the fourth food, liver. Liver belongs in this conversation for a different reason from gelatin. It is not primarily valuable because it delivers large quantities of collagen. Its strength is its concentration of nutrients. Liver provides protein along with nutrients such as vitamin A and copper. Copper is involved in normal connective tissue formation, while vitamin A participates in many aspects of normal cell function. This gives us another side of collagen maintenance. Your body needs more than amino acids. Think about repairing a house. Having plenty of lumber is useful, but lumber alone does not complete the renovation. You also need the tools and processes that allow the materials to be used properly. In the body, vitamins and minerals participate in the biological processes that allow tissues to be maintained. But liver also demonstrates why nutrient density needs to be treated with respect. Because it contains high concentrations of certain nutrients, more is not automatically better. This is not a food I would encourage someone to consume in enormous amounts every day. Vitamin A, for example, can become excessive at high intakes, especially if you are also using supplements that contain it. And some people with particular medical conditions may need individualized advice about eating organ meats. So if you enjoy liver and it is appropriate for you, think of it as an occasional nutrient-dense food rather than a daily collagen treatment. A modest amount can be incorporated into a normal meal. And if you dislike liver, there is no reason to force yourself to eat it. You can obtain protein and the nutrients involved in connective tissue health from a varied diet in many different ways. That matters because the best healthy aging diet is not the one that looks perfect on paper. It is the one that gives you adequate nutrition and is realistic enough to maintain month after month. Now we have reached the fifth food, the one most people probably expected to hear in a discussion about collagen: bone broth. Bone broth is made by simmering animal bones and connective tissues in water. As collagen-rich tissues cook, some of that collagen breaks down into gelatin. That is why certain homemade broths become jelly-like after they cool in the refrigerator. For older adults, bone broth has one very practical advantage. It can be easy to consume. If chewing tougher foods has become difficult, or if you simply enjoy soups and stews, broth can be an accessible way to include collagen-derived proteins and amino acids in your diet. But this is also where I want to separate useful nutrition from exaggerated promises. Bone broth does not travel directly into an arthritic knee and coat the joint. It does not rebuild cartilage overnight, and cooking it for an extreme number of hours does not automatically transform it into medicine. Your digestive system still has to break down what you consume, just as it does with other protein-containing foods. What bone broth can do is contribute fluid, flavor, and some collagen-derived protein and amino acids. Use it as the base of a soup with vegetables and another source of protein, and it can become part of a nutritious meal. That is useful enough. We do not need to turn it into a miracle cure to appreciate it. There is another detail people often miss. One bone broth can be very different from another. Homemade recipes vary, and commercial products can vary in both protein and sodium. Some packaged broths are surprisingly salty. If you need to watch your sodium intake, read the nutrition label rather than trusting the words bone broth on the front of the package. If you make broth at home, bones and pieces containing joints and connective tissue can be simmered in water and then used as the base for soups and stews. If the broth becomes gelatinous after chilling, that tells you gelatin is present. But do not worry if every batch does not turn into a perfect block of jelly. Ingredients, proportions, and cooking methods vary. And this is exactly why I saved bone broth for last. It brings us back to the central lesson of the entire video. When you eat collagen-rich foods, your body receives building materials. But those materials still have to function inside a much larger system. You need enough overall protein, you need vitamin C and other micronutrients, you need enough total nutrition, you need physical activity. And if stronger legs are the goal, your muscles need regular work. So instead of asking, which one food will rebuild my joints? Ask a much better question. Am I consistently giving my body the nutrition and movement it needs to maintain strength? That question leads to a practical plan. First, look at the protein in your meals. Do breakfast, lunch, and dinner regularly contain a meaningful protein source, or are many of your meals built mostly around bread, crackers, pastries, sweets, or other foods that provide relatively little protein? Eggs and sardines are two possibilities we discussed today, but they are certainly not your only options. Dairy foods, fish, poultry, meat, legumes, and soy foods can all contribute protein depending on your preferences and health needs. Second, remember vitamin C. Your body needs vitamin C for normal collagen synthesis. You do not need an expensive collagen drink to obtain it. Fruits and vegetables can provide vitamin C alongside many other useful nutrients. Pairing protein-rich meals with colorful produce is a simple way to improve the overall nutritional environment your tissues depend on. Third, look at your movement. Ask yourself a very practical question. When was the last time your leg muscles had to do something slightly difficult? Not painful, not dangerous. Simply challenging enough that your muscles had a reason to work. For one person, that might mean standing from a sturdy chair several times. For another, it might be walking on an incline. Someone who is already active may use resistance bands or weights. If you have significant joint disease, balance problems, heart disease, or another condition that affects exercise safety, get appropriate guidance rather than copying an exercise routine designed for someone else. And fourth, pay attention to changes in your function. If your legs are becoming noticeably weaker, do not automatically dismiss it as age. If you are losing weight without trying, eating very little, falling more often, or suddenly struggling with activities that were previously easy, discuss those changes with a healthcare professional. There can be many explanations, and nutrition is only one part of the picture. The same is true for swelling. Mild swelling can have many causes, but sudden swelling, especially in one leg, or swelling accompanied by significant pain, redness, warmth, chest pain, or shortness of breath, deserves prompt medical attention. That is not the moment to experiment with a collagen food. So here is your simple Dr. Robert action plan. Today, look at what you normally eat. Is there a reliable protein source in your meals? If eggs fit your diet, they can make breakfast more substantial. If you enjoy sardines, they can provide protein along with other useful nutrients, and varieties with edible bones provide calcium as well. If you want to try gelatin, use plain gelatin as an addition rather than treating it as your primary muscle-building protein. If you enjoy liver and it is appropriate for you, keep the amount sensible instead of assuming more is better. And if you use bone broth, think of it as a useful ingredient in a balanced meal, while paying attention to the sodium and protein content of commercial products. Then add a vitamin C-rich fruit or vegetable to one of your protein-containing meals. Keep it simple. You are not conducting a chemistry experiment at the dinner table. You are simply giving your body a wider range of the nutrients it uses every day. And sometime this week, give your legs safe work. Nutrition and movement belong together. If you improve your diet but spend nearly every waking hour sitting down, you are leaving out one of the most important signals your body receives for maintaining physical capacity. There is something else I want everyone over 60 to consider. Do not judge healthy aging only by how your body looks or whether your knees feel exactly as they did at 30. Ask a more meaningful question. What can your body still allow you to do? Can you rise from your favorite chair without struggling? Can you walk comfortably through the grocery store? Can you climb the steps into a friend's home? Can you carry a bag? Can you play with your grandchildren? Can you travel? Can you maintain enough strength and balance to keep participating in your own life? That is what stronger legs and healthier joints are really protecting. Food matters because your body cannot maintain tissue without raw materials. Eggs can contribute high-quality protein. Sardines combine protein with calcium when the bones are eaten, along with healthy fats and other nutrients. Gelatin provides collagen-derived amino acids. Liver supplies protein and several micronutrients involved in normal tissue function. Bone broth can provide gelatin and collagen-derived proteins in an easy-to-use form. But none of these foods works alone. Their real value comes when they are part of a varied diet, adequate protein intake, fruits and vegetables, appropriate activity, and good medical care when something is wrong. And you do not need to change everything tomorrow morning. Choose one improvement you can actually maintain. Maybe your breakfast needs more protein. Maybe sardines are worth trying. Maybe you regularly buy broth, but have never checked how much sodium it contains. Maybe you have focused so much on collagen that you have forgotten the muscles themselves. Or perhaps today's biggest realization is simply that your legs are not getting enough regular work. Start with that one change. At 75, I am not trying to make my body 30 again. I am interested in giving the body I have today the best chance to remain capable tomorrow. That is a much more useful goal. We cannot stop every change that comes with age, but our daily choices still matter. Nourish your body well. Keep moving it. Challenge your muscles safely. Pay attention when your function changes. And do not let dramatic promises about one food or supplement distract you from the basic habits that have to work together. Now I would like to hear from you. Of the 5 foods we discussed, eggs, sardines, gelatin, liver, and bone broth, which one is already part of your diet? And which one would you realistically consider adding? And if maintaining stronger legs is one of your goals, tell me what you currently do to keep them active. Your experience may give another person in this community an idea they can use. If this video helped you understand collagen, joints, and leg strength more clearly, share it with someone over 60 who wants to stay mobile and independent. And subscribe to Dr. Robert Da's Guide for more clear, practical conversations about staying strong and active as the years go by. I am Dr. Robert Hayes. Nourish your body, keep giving your muscles a reason to stay strong, and I will see you in the next video.